Okay, once again, good day everyone. My name is Ahmed Mohamed. I am the team lead for Dune Africa, and today going to be we are going to be having Oladayo, who is a film wizard, taking us through the advanced concept of chain analysis. And this is a this is going to be a very exciting session, and I am looking forward to learning a lot from it also personally. So I think we are going to wait for Oladayo to actually join. He's not on the call yet, so he's going to join very soon. Okay, he's already on the call. Welcome, Oladayo. It is so nice to have you here. And I'm going to actually leave the stage for you to introduce himself better. So thank you and see you when the session ends. You can comment and speak. Okay, right. GM. Good morning, GM. I'm not.
Can you hear me,
It's
please?
good afternoon. It's good afternoon.
Is what?
We're not in Dubai. I say some of us are in Nigeria. Some of us are in Nigeria.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Good morning. Can you hear me? Is my voice very audible? Is my voice audible? I want to know, please. I want to know if my voice is audible so that I will know I'm not speaking to myself.
Yes, it is audible.
Okay. Can everyone hear me, please? Please, if you can hear me, just type in the comment section. Because I don't want any mistake. Yeah. Okay. Kindly give me just 2 minutes, a minute or two, then we are just going to start. A minute or two, please. Okay, yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, once again. And it's so nice having everyone here. I've been looking forward to this particular section and this particular class, and we have it here already today. So once again, welcome. I am Oladayo, and I'll be your instructor for today. I'm one of team member in Dune Africa, and I've not been joining other classes, but I understand that our tutors have been like doing a very good job to take us through the course of understanding how Dune works. And as it stands, it's even much more important right now because the alternative to Dune over time has always been Flipside. And as at yesterday, Flipside Crypto announced that they will be stopping their public dashboards, and which will mean more people now would be forced to learn and understand how to use analytics, and it's actually a good one for everyone. It's much more easier and seamless for everybody. So let me just get straight into the class so that I don't just bore us with a whole lot of words. I know that we have around 2 hours. So yeah, so that I don't bore us, coming to record system and mic. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to get started right now. Yeah. So today we are going to be talking about, they actually gave me two topics and they want me to combine it as one, but I want to separate it because I think it makes much more sense for us to separate those classes. Please permit me to switch off my camera. Yep. Okay. Okay, good now. So yeah, so I think it will make more sense if we break those topics and then we are able to like take it one after the other, because the best thing I always want in each of my classes is understanding, like perfect understanding. I don't just want to rush through everything. I want us to be able to take it bit by bit and be able to understand. And I also understand that a good number of us, we are probably beginners. Maybe for some of us, we are beginners in probably the crypto space. Maybe you've been very well in data analytics, but probably it's your first time in the Web3 or crypto space, as most people will call it. And maybe for some people too, they've been in the crypto space for a long time, but they are just trying to get a hold of everything in Web3. So I understand that we have mixed multitude. And I also understand that we have people that they've probably been in this space and in the data space for a whole lot, I mean, a longer period. So I understand that we have those different category of people. So I will try to, as much as possible, make it beginner friendly. And also, I would also appreciate if there's any parts I'm trying to explain that you don't understand. Like, it will help me the moment at different intervals. I will try to check through the message. Wait, I'm not sharing my screen. I thought I was already sharing my screen. I'm very, very sorry. I'm sorry about that. Um, yeah, so that's one of those things. Please, if at any point in time there is something you notice, or please just call my attention. If possible, unmute your mic so that okay. I hope my screen is visible now. Can you see my screen now? Please kindly just drop a message so that I know you can see my screen. Can you see my screen, please? Okay, good. Okay, so I believe we can all see my screen. I thought that my screen was already visible the other time, so I'm so sorry. So yeah, so let me just get straight into the class. So today we are talking about understanding decentralized finance through data analytics. I understand that everyone that is here, we are one way or the other into data analytics, or we want to get into it. And one of the very paramount thing in crypto data is decentralized finance. I think throughout the course of the class, we would get to understand all of these very, very well. So as I was saying the other time, any moment probably you notice that probably my voice is off or something. Ahmed, please, at any point you feel my voice is off, you can probably just message me on WhatsApp so that I will be able to, because my screen is it's a full screen now, so I might not be able to see the message. But at any point that you need to call my attention to something, you can just drop a message for me on WhatsApp so that I'll be able to see it. So yeah. So I'm Oladayo, and I'm a data analyst, and I'm in love with numbers. I used to say that I'm in love with numbers, and the core thing about numbers is what they show, because beyond the rows and the columns that you see in every data, there are hidden things that you have in those things. So there are certain things that are hidden behind the numbers, and they show a whole lot of things. Like, at different points in time when you probably go through on-chain data, you find a whole lot of things fascinating. You find a whole lot of behaviors, like human behaviors, that you most likely think are not possible. You find it behind all of those wallets. So as a numbers person, I'm passionate with like trying to get hidden details about number and market sentiment and emerging trends. So I'm a CSC graduate, computer graduate from Obafemi Awolowo University, and I've been working with blockchain data. Yesterday, I think I made a post yesterday. Yesterday was just a year that I published my first Dune analytics dashboard. And so this is probably a motivation for someone. So it's not like I've been in the space for that long, but I just started every of those things last year. Although I've been in the crypto space since 2017 anyways. But when it comes to crypto data analytics, I just started last year. Like everything started making sense last year. And maybe for some of us that this is our first time interacting with Dune, I know probably every other tutor might have probably touched about this. Maybe for some of us, this is probably our first time interacting with Dune. I understand. For me too, the first time I heard about Dune, okay, the first time I heard about crypto data analytics, I tried Flipside first. Then my first time trying Dune was in 2022. I checked around, checked some of the queries, and I did not understand anything. And I just dropped it. So I know for some people, you might probably not immediately be able to grasp everything that will be taught in all the classes. It might just be a little that you'll be able to grab, but even that little, over time, when you build on it, you understand. So after 2022, I just dropped it. And then last year, I just decided to pick up a dashboard and try to work on it. And from there, I started getting proper understanding of how Dune works and how all of those queries work. So for everyone that is in this class, the first thing you just need to know is you don't have to understand everything. Is there a message? Oh, okay. AI assistants. Okay. Okay. We have a whole lot of people using AI assistants in this class. Okay. So you don't have to necessarily understand everything that you have that it's in this class, but it might just be a little bit that you're able to pick and be able to work on it. And like I always say, always try to practice as much as possible. The more you practice, the more you get to understand some of these things. So today, like I said, we are going to be talking about understanding decentralized finance through data analytics. And the four core things that I'll be working on, like four core things we would probably be discussing on is first of understanding understanding decentralized finance and how decentralized finance works, and some of the key terminologies that are related to decentralized finance. Then the important metrics that we are to track as a data analyst, like some of those metrics that are very, very important or that are key that people would want to know about, or that clients might be probably interested in, or even as a personal, as a personal use, we are like for personal consumption, certain things that we might really be interested, like certain metrics we might be really be interested in. And then after that, we'll do few queries, maybe 2 or 3 different queries on Dune, and then we'll call it a day. Then next week, because like I said I broke this class into 2. Then next week we are going to do the final part, which is the advanced concept and user behavior. Advanced concept and user behavior in data analytics and Web3 data analytics generally. So that's the second part. We'll be taking that part next week. So yeah, understanding decentralized finance. I know a whole lot of us, we've heard about DeFi. If you've been in the crypto space, even recently, we've heard about DeFi much more recently, or probably we've been using decentralized finance, but we probably have not understand that what we are interfacing with or the infrastructure we are using is DeFi. DeFi is simply decentralized finance. Just the same way you have your traditional finance, the same way you have your banking system. And the way decentralized finance works is that it's just a blockchain financial system. The same way you have a financial structure, a financial system in the traditional finance, that is in your normal bank, where you go to your bank, you deposit money, you go to your bank, you save money, you go to your bank, you withdraw, you go to your bank, you collect loan. Yeah, for some people, they collect loan and then you use certain things as collateral to collect loan. Yeah, you go to your bank. What other thing do people do in banks? All of those different things. You send money from one place to another and all of those things. So the same way it works in the banking system, in the traditional banking system, that's the same thing or similar thing we have in decentralized finance. But the difference between the core normal banking system, like the traditional finance now. That's what I'm using as TradFi. And decentralized finance is that in TradFi, you are interacting with bank and all of those ledger system. But in decentralized finance, the core thing you are working with is a blockchain-based financial system. So that is more like the difference. So where they converge, that is where the core interest is. Just like I said the other time, it's a financial system. So the same way you have lending, you have borrowing, you have trading, you have saving, and in certain places you have like insurance, collateral, all of those things. You have interest rates, you have risk management, you have liquidity. I mean, liquidation, liquidity, and all of those things. The same way you have it in traditional finance, you have it in, decentralized finance. So where they divert, that is where like there are few differences that for in the banking system, it's essentially controlled. That is, there's an institution that is in charge of how you do transfer, who you do transfer to. Your bank can decide that you cannot send money to this particular, to this particular account, or you cannot receive money at this particular time. Or in your banking system, except probably transfers now that there are transfers, before the advent of banking apps, you probably have to do transfers over the counter. And you know that banks don't open 24/7. There are stipulated time where you can do your transfer or your transaction. But in the decentralized finance world, like everything is 24/7. It is literally open. You can go to, like, you can use your app, your decentralized app at any point in time. Anywhere you are, like any region or any location you are just a click away from running any of those transactions on traditional finance. So that is where they converge and where there's divergence in both places. So just like I've said, few of the differences is that we have intermediaries in traditional finance where we have banks, brokers, payment processor, and all of those things. But in decentralized finance, the only thing that it needs to work is just probably we've been told as far as pre-written rules or pre-written instructions that are carried out automatically, like certain instructions that are carried out. That is, let's say you want to send money from a particular wallet to a particular wallet, it just needs to check if you have that amount and the wallet you are sending money to, and then it automatically does the transaction or does the transfer. So in traditional finance, there are certain entities that are guiding whatever you have to do, but in decentralized finance, it's just through a smart contract, you can always do that. And in traditional finance, you have to do like KYC, that is, know your customer. You have to collect your NIN, your BVN, your driver's license, and all of those things, international passports, and all of those things. And in some cases, they probably even check your credit history. That is, does this person has the facility, or what does this person's credit history looks like? Maybe at different points in time that this person had borrowed money, were they able to like return the money they borrowed? Were they able to like return the money they borrowed? So they check all of those things in like traditional finance. They are limiting access, unlike decentralized finance, where you just need to have your wallet and then you can do anything. Like you can decide to swap, you can decide to do and undo, as the case may be. You can decide to do and undo in traditional finance. Decentralized finance rather. Just like I said, operating hours, there are limited operating hours in our banking system. There are different operating hours, but of course in the crypto space, it runs 24/7. Like people will always say that the casino runs 24/7. Transparency, we already know about the transparency system. Banking system is closed ledger. You cannot know what another person is transacting. You cannot know what another person is doing, the amounts they are sending out, except they inform you that, oh, I'm sending out this amount. You cannot know how much they are receiving or how much they are sending or what they are buying or what they are not buying or which loan they are collecting or which loan they are not collecting. But with decentralized finance, everything is open ledger. You can literally just check every of those things on an explorer, you'll be able to see every of those information just through a transaction as you can easily see all of all of those things. Um, so yeah, banks hold your money in the crypto world, in the decentralized world. You are in control of your money, especially when you use a non-custodial wallet. And then, of course, speed. We know how fast it is to run transaction in in the crypto space. So how do decentralized finance, how exactly does it work? Like what is, we've been talking about decentralized finances money. How exactly do they work? So decentralized finance works through something called a DEX. So that's why I said that for some of us, we might probably have been, interacting with DeFi or using DeFi over time, and we probably don't know that that's what we've been doing. So before you're able to transact decentralized, using decentralized finance, just so you know, in the crypto space, we have centralized exchanges and we have decentralized exchanges. So on centralized exchange, that is your Binance and the likes. But on centralized, on decentralized exchange, that is maybe your Uniswap, your Sushi Swap, your Pump Swap, which others, Arbitrum Swap, which other swap is on Solana, your Radium and the likes, all of those things. And decentralized exchanges are basically exchanges that allow you.
I can't hear you. You're not audible. I think it's not showing again.
Please, let's just be patient. I am going to drop him a message now. Okay, please, let's just be patient. I think he's coming. He's going to join us back in just minutes. I think it's network. So let's.
So sorry. I'm so sorry. I really did not know that my file went off while I was speaking. So I'm so sorry for that interruption. So can someone just let me know where I stopped so that I can just pick up from there.
No, I think you were still speaking, you were telling us about decentralized platform.
Okay.
And
Okay. I'm just going to share my screen back. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Have I started this? Have I started how decentralized finance works? Ahmed, Ahmed, are you
yes,
there?
yes, yes.
I've started this part, right? Okay.
Yes, I
Yeah,
can hear
so
you.
I was
Yes, yes, already discussed.
okay. So I was talking about how decentralized, exchanges, how they work. That so for Binance, the way Binance works is that they match using order books where you match a buy and a sell together. But that is not the case when it comes to decentralized finance. For decentralized finance, there is like an automated market maker. That is why you find out that the moment you press swap, there is an immediate buy immediately. Unlike on Binance, you have to place a buy limit or a sell limit and hope that someone picks up your trade when you want to buy or when you want to sell. But on a decentralized exchange, the moment you click that you want to buy a coin, it buys immediately. The moment you click that you want to sell a coin, it sells immediately. The reason for that is that there is something called an automated market maker. And what an AMM, what it does basically is that it automatically sets the price of a token and executes it based on certain formulas that are already pre-written in the smart contract. So, and also, so the way it basically works is that on a decentralized exchange, we have something called liquidity pool. So liquidity pool is like the volume of, say, USDT or that particular coin to make that particular transaction work. So that's why you see that sometimes you would have you buy a particular coin, and then when you want to sell, you find out that you are not able to sell at all. The reason you are not able to sell is because there is no liquidity pool. Like there is no, you don't have enough pool in the liquidity pool of that particular coin. So it is always very, very important that there are as much as possible liquidity provider in the liquidity pool just to be able to like process the volume, like so that we'll be able to have enough volume when you want to buy or when you want to sell. So we need to have liquidity providers that would have provided enough tokens in the liquidity pool. Then the decentralized exchange just matches the price, like matches your trade based on a particular algorithm that already set your price. And then we have traders, which is you and I, that are interacting with those pools to swap a token. Say, for example, you go to Uniswap or PumpSwap now, you connect your wallet, you are the trader at that point in time. You select the token you want to buy. Say, I want to buy Radium now, for example, or base token. Okay, there's no base token. Or say Ethereum, for example, now. I select the token I want to buy, then I select whatever coin I want to swap uh, as an equivalent. That is, I want to swap my USDT, which is the stable coin. I want to swap it for, say, I want to swap it for Ethereum, for example. So the moment you click swap and you select and you press OK, you find out that that particular transaction runs through. That's because there is enough liquidity in the pool provided by liquidity providers. So then at each of those transactions or at each of those swaps, there is something called a fee that is charged, like sometimes a gas fee or platform fee or protocol fee that is charged or removed per each of your transactions. And these are some of those fees that liquidity providers earn. That serves as an incentive for them to keep providing liquidity for your platform. So that is why we have certain people at the back ends that are probably providing liquidity for a particular coin or a particular token, as the case may be. And all of this happens through a smart contract that is through already pre-written rules that are already automated, that does not need anybody to be in charge to work. The moment those rules are already written and are already incorporated in a smart contract, you just find out that they automatically work and you're able to buy your token or sell your token at different intervals as the case may be. So yeah, so what are some of the key terminologies that we have around decentralized finance? So like I said, I've been talking about swaps since morning. So swapping a token, for those that don't know, swapping a token is just exchanging one token for another. Like it's equivalent, just like maybe a trade by barter now, for example. It's just like when you want to buy something. So don't let me even use trade by barter. Just like when you want to buy something, maybe when you want to buy bread, you give them the amount, maybe $200. Let me use a global currency in this case. Maybe you give them $200 in exchange for a particular bread. So that's the same way swap works. You exchange USDT for Ethereum, USDT for Solana, or Solana for USDT, or Solana for USDC, as the case may be. So swap is just exchanging one token for another. Another thing is also liquidity pool, like I said. So liquidity pool is a reserve. Is that a message? Okay. So liquidity pool, like I'm explaining, it's a reserve of tokens that are able to facilitate all of those swaps, all of the swaps you are carrying out. Then there's another thing called total value locked. Total value locked is basically the total amount of value that you have on a particular protocol. By protocol, it means maybe a particular exchange. For example, maybe what's the total value locked in sushi swap, for example. That is like the total amount available, maybe in the back end, to be able to process or available totally on that exchange or on that protocol. Yeah. Another term that is probably common in the DeFi space is APY. Sorry, a few minutes. Yeah, APY, that is an annual percentage yield. For those of us that are probably around during the curve days, like curve wars, when we always have APYs, when we have a whole lot of protocols that are sharing absorbed APYs. APYs is just like interest on your on whatever you are saving. So in the crypto space, just like it works in traditional finance, there's an opportunity for you to, like, maybe you have 100 USDT, for example, now, and you feel you are not using it immediately. You can decide that, okay, I think I want to just save up, deposit, supply this $100 and allow it to yield a certain amount or certain percent for me over a couple of maybe months or year. So this annual percentage yield is the yield you get for saving that amount up or leaving it up for people to use in the pool. So that's basically what an APY does. So APY is basically how much a user earns over a period of time. Maybe when you do a deposit, that, okay, I'm saving up this amount. The amount that it yields, maybe it's a 7% APY, that is over the $100 that you deposited. If you leave it there for a whole year, you'll be getting $7, which is like 7% of the $100 that you put in. There's also something called seepage. For seepage is just the difference between the expected price and the execution price. That is, when you are trying to sell off a particular token, there is a possibility that you will not be able to sell it off at the exact expected price. Maybe the price is showing $1.05, for example. That is the price. There's a possibility that the amount you'll be able to sell based on the amount of volume that you want to deposit or swap at that particular point in time, you might not be able to sell it at that $1.25. You might probably be able to sell it off at maybe a $1.02 or $1.01 or maybe $1, as the case may be. So the difference between the amount you are supposed to sell it for and the amount you ended up selling it for, that is what the seal page, that is what it is. And then we have impermanent loss, which is like potential loss that could happen when you are trying to like sell off a particular token. So depending on the amount of liquidity that you have in a token pool, the amount of liquidity you have in a token pool can determine how much impermanent loss you might have. Impermanent loss is just a loss that is not permanent. It might be like that is, it's a potential loss. You might be planning to sell a particular token, and then you see that there's a possibility that you are going to have a 29% impermanent loss. That is, there's a possibility that the amount you think you'll be selling it for, there might be a 29% off of that amount. That is what you'll be getting at the end of the day. So that's what an impermanent loss is. So these are just like some of the terminologies around decentralized finance. And the reason I'm trying to explain all of this is that probably by the time you are trying to like build a dashboard, you are trying to like run certain queries, these are some of the terms that you'll be told to like work on at different intervals or at different points in time. And that is why they are important. So yeah, so we also have collateral assets. Collateral assets are basically assets you lock. Maybe when you take a loan, just like it happens on, in your normal banking system. In decentralized finance, there is the part of lending. We have lending protocol. Lending protocol are basically protocols that allow you to borrow against your token. Say you have $100 now, for example. Through a lending protocol, you can borrow. Maybe they might allow you to be able to borrow from that your $100. You're able to borrow maybe a $50 on top of it. That is, you're able to borrow a $150 like now. So when you deposit your $100, the $100 you are depositing at that point in time might probably be your collateral at that point in time. So at the point you are depositing it, you'll be able to probably be able to use their assets, like is their protocol, to be able to get something around a $150. So the $100 you are depositing at that point, it's a collateral asset. That is the amount you are locking to secure a loan. And at the point you are locking that particular amount, there's something called liquidation. That is at a point where the amount you lock can no longer service your loan. Say you borrow $100 now. For those of us that are probably familiar with futures trading, this is the same thing that literally works in futures trading. Say you borrow you deposit $100 now. That is the capital you have is $100, and you deposit it into a lending pool. And that lending pool, they give you an asset worth like $200. That $100 is usable so far whatever you are buying, that is any other point you are buying, because the reason you borrow is because you want to be able to buy a particular product or a particular token at that point in time. So your capital is still valid or useful so far the price of what you are buying does not go below a certain price. Say for example, you bought a token at $5, for example. The token is $5. You collected a loan, and so you deposited $100, which is your collateral, and then you are given a loan of maybe $200. Now you bought that token at $5. So your liquidation might probably be the moment that particular token falls below, say, $3. The moment it falls below $3, the amount you deposited might not be able to service your loan again, and then a liquidation will occur. That is, when that liquidation occurs, they will be forced to sell off, the amount you deposit at that point in time, so that you'll be able to pay for the services of what just happened, because the price had dumped below the initial price. I'm very sorry for some people that are probably just hearing about some of this stuff right now. Some of it might sound as jargon. Very, very sorry. We just have to go through all of this. Borrow limit might be the amount you can borrow based on the collateral you are depositing. Say, for example, because you are dropping $100, you might probably not be able to borrow more than or up to $500, for example. So that would be like the borrow limit. So maybe if you are depositing $100 as a collateral, the highest you can borrow might probably be $300. So it means $300 is your borrow limit. Protocol revenue are basically fees earned by protocol when you use them. That is, when you use their service, when you probably use a decentralized exchange, when you use them, the amount you get, the amount of fee you pay per time, that is like the fee, the protocol revenue. That is what keeps them in business. That's the amount they generate from every of your transaction. There is also the health factor. Health factor is basically a check to see if the collateral you deposit and still, what's the word now? You can still use it in servicing. You can still service your loan. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And still service your loan. So health factor, the moment it drops below 1, that is, the moment your health factor that is has reduced, maybe has weakened, that is drops below 1, then that is when a liquidation occurs. So health factor is basically a metric used in lending protocols to assess the safety of your loan. They just want you to be sure that, okay, your loan is healthy. So you can probably see something at 94% health factor, 95, and all of those things. But the moment the health factor drops below 1, then liquidation occurs. Then there's also utilization rate. So utilization rate is basically like the percentage of supply funds in a lending protocol that has been borrowed. So what that basically means is that in a lending protocol, people supply different funds. Like that is, maybe we are 5 now. Different people have probably supplied $1,000. So that means we have $5,000 that have been supplied to that lending pool. And then maybe certain people are now borrowed a particular amount from that pool that is. So out of that 10,000 now, for example, maybe they borrowed like 4,000 out of it. So our utilization rate would now be calculated based on the amount that had been borrowed from the supply. So that is basically what utilization rates, that is basically what they are. So these are few of, we have a whole lot of terminologies in it, in decentralized finance that cannot be exhausted. But these are just few that I think I can pinpoint. So you can probably just do more research on some of these terms, probably just to understand them better. So the next one now, some of the important metrics that you can track. So we've stated all of those terminologies, but it does not just end at that. Our work as a data analyst is that we want to be able to track certain metrics from a decentralized exchange. They want to be able to see certain things. Maybe you are working for example, now, maybe you are working for Uniswap now, or you are working for a bank. They want to be able to know, okay, how much did we process today? Or how much have we processed over a period of time? Say, over the last 30 days, how much have we processed? Over the last 1 week, how much have we processed? All of those things. Or maybe they want to know how many people deposited this week, or how many people used our project or our protocol this week. All of those things. So these are some of the things that are important, that needs to be tracked, or that you most likely find in the dashboard. So one of it that is always very important are swap volumes. So swap volumes are basically the dollar value of all the swap, of all the trade that happened over a particular period of time. Maybe you want to check, okay, over the last 3 months, what is like the swap volume over the last 3 months. So swap volume basically, they reflect how active a particular token is traded. So you're able to know, okay, maybe today we have 1 million volume. Tomorrow we have like $500,000, $500,000 volume, and all of those things. So swap volume is basically the volume of swaps, every swap, and by swap it means every sell, every buy and sell that happens on that particular decentralized exchange. So for every wallet that buys, it's recorded. For every wallet that sells, it is recorded through that particular protocol or decentralized exchange, and all of it is summed up as the swap volume. So the second thing that is monitored or important are unique users, or daily active users, or daily users, as the case may be. So daily users are basically number of wallets, because in the crypto space, we cannot really know who is behind. We cannot really know a particular entity. The only way we know each entity is through their wallet. So unique users helps us track number of people by people or by user. We mean number of wallets. Number of wallets that are interacting with the protocol per day. So okay, maybe today we have like 50 wallets that interacted with this protocol, 100 wallets that interacted with this protocol, 500 wallets that interacted with this protocol, all of those things. So these are like some of the metrics. And in most cases, one of the ways you know that a particular protocol is working or is actively involved, in vogue or in use, as the case may be, is being able to measure the number of its daily users. That is, how many people are using this particular product every day, or how many active users. Say by active users, say you want to know, okay, what are the number of wallets that have been able to use this protocol in the last 3 days, or that repeatedly, maybe you want to know which wallets, how many users are able to do like 4 or 5 swaps in the last 2 weeks. Maybe you want to be able to track active users. By active users, you can decide to set a particular rule that, oh, I want to know wallets that are probably done like minimum of 10 swaps or minimum of 5 swaps over the last 2 or 3 weeks, that kind of thing. So that is where unique users and daily active users, that is where it comes to play. Sorry, yeah. Liquidity value log. So liquidity value log, or TVL, as it's popularly called, they are basically the total amount of tokens that are converted to USDT that are locked in the liquidity pool. That is how much a protocol, a lending protocol in most cases, how much they have in their liquidity pool. How much they have in their liquidity pool. And why this matters is that through the total value logged, we are able to monitor if this particular protocol or projects or products is healthy. That is to give investors more confidence. I mean, if a particular decentralized protocol, if their total value load is very, very low, it will not make any sense for you to bring higher amount of money, since you know that the value they have, the total value that is logged on that protocol might probably not be able to process your transaction. Say maybe what they have as their total value logged is probably $50,000 now, and you now want to bring 1 million to that particular $1 million. You know that your 1 million would most likely be too much because that particular product does not have a healthy total value logged. So that is a TVL. Other things that are also tracked are deposits and borrows. That is how many people deposited, how many people borrowed, and these are basically used in lending platforms. And we also have utilization rates. Like I said the other time, utilization rate is just percentage of total liquidity that are currently being borrowed. That is the amount that is borrowed divided by the total amount that is borrowed divided by the total amount that is deposited times 100. That will give us what our utilization rate would be. So a high rate may signal that a whole lot of people are borrowing, or a potential liquidity risk. Then liquidation. Liquidation is the number of collateral that are liquidated due to loans. That is, they are not able to pay back their loan, and then a liquidation occurs. So liquidation is another metric that we track in decentralized finance. And other ones could also be fees generated, that is amount that protocol has been able to generate, probably through gas fee or directly, per each swap or per each of those things that have been done, like on that particular protocol. Then we also have token emission or incentive. Maybe in certain cases, certain protocols, they probably give people certain incentive. Maybe if you lock a particular amount, they give you like a 2% of the amount you locked up. So that's an example of like token emission or token incentive. And the last one, which is the last one of the metrics that can be monitored, is market share or protocol comparison. Market share is basically comparing the different volumes of different protocols. Say, for example, you want to compare the volume of Radium to PumpSwap to Whirlpool to Metorad and all of those pools. You want to compare the total volume, that just to be able to know, okay, maybe this one has the higher volume, this one is second, third. Basically, market share is just to compare among different protocols to know probably which one is declining, which one is increasing, which one is reducing, and all of those things. So these are like some of the few metrics that you most likely be needed to track as an on-chain analyst or as a data analyst in the Web3 space. So do we have anyone with question before we move on? Question. I would like to take question. If you have question at this point. If you have question. Anyone with question? Okay. Do you have someone raising their hand? Anyone with question? Okay, yeah. Easy trend, you can please unmute your mic and ask your question, please.
Okay, Mr. Oladayo, thanks for the lecture so far. So I want to ask this. In a case, I want to run a query, and I want to run a query. Let's say I want to run a query for Sushi Swap, right? And
Yeah.
as a newbie, I don't know. Maybe probably during the class, you make use of which one should I use in the Ethereum, or maybe let me just go to Solana. So maybe in the during the
example,
lecture,
I make use of PumpSwap.
Okay, yeah, maybe you make use of PumpSwap,
PumpSwap, but you want to check for Radium, right?
Yeah. So and I want to check for Radium, right? So let me say, because you use PumpSwap and you push PumpSwap as the project name, and maybe when I want to query my own and I put Radium as the project name, if it does not pop up what I am expecting from Radium, how do I go about it by getting the data for Radium that will make it pop up? Like now, most of my analysis examples I've been getting from either PumpSwap, Radium, or Meteora. So I know those are DEXs, those are liquidity providers. So I want to know about Jupiter Exchange, like all those like Step Finance dashboard, like something like that, but I can't get them. Yeah, exactly. And they are also DEXs, but they are kind of different because they are not liquidity providers.
DEXs. Yeah, we are going to get to that. So let's just pick it a step at a time. We are going to, this is not the end of the class. We are going to, this is just like the, should I say, the theoretical part. We are going to write few queries now. I'm going to answer that during, like, when we start running queries now. Does any other, I'm going to answer that when we have queries. I'm going to show you, I'm going to answer that by showing. Is there another person with question? The recording, yeah, the recording of the class will be available. The slides, yes, I will try to, I'm trying not to, because this particular platform, it has like, what's it called now? It has, what's the word now? It has a watermark. I would try to see how to export it without watermark and probably drop it. I'll make it available too in case you need the slide. Do we have any other person with question? Probably you don't understand some of the things I explained before we move to the next part of the class, please. Okay. In the absence of question, I guess probably by the time we start the proper part, so that maybe we'll have more people that will ask questions. So yeah, now we're going to go to Dune and then few data. So Dune.com and new query. So I'm very, very sure that a good number of us, we are going to have something like this. We are going to have something like this. or in a Dune query. So now let's start with say swap volume now. So let's say, for example, I want to check swap volume. So the first thing is there is a possibility that you might not know the table you'll be able to get that information. So one of the most important thing when you are querying data, especially using Dune, is the most important thing is one, you need to know the result you want. Like, okay, this is what I want to get. This is just like in every data analytics. You want to know the answer. You want to know the answers you want to get, and that will determine the questions you'll be asking. So I want to look for my question, or the answer I want is I want the volume. I want to know the volume of DEX, maybe DEX on Ethereum of, let's use Ethereum for example, or maybe Solana for example. So this is the result. This is what you want. So the next thing is you need to look for, okay, how am I going to come across this? So that means you need to look for DEX table on Dune. So one of the things that can make your work important, easy and fast, is you need to also know table that you want to work on. A good number of times it might not be easy. There are certain times you keep checking this data explorer and you probably don't get a result. But the first way is by checking this data explorer for the actual details that you want. So for example, in this case, we are looking for DEX. So you just type DEX. It's going to show different tables that has DEX details there. You can see DEX trade. These are for EVMs. DEX trade for Solana, Tone trade, DEX trade, and all of those things. So in this case, this is the table I want to work with. So I can probably just preview the table to see, okay, if this is exactly what I want. So you're going to click this preview table. So yeah, you can see blockchain project version, block number, token bots. Yeah, you're able to see all of this information. Fantastic and good. So this is very, very good. So you've been able to solve one of your problems. So the first thing I always do in most cases for me is that I just press select from text straight. Then I probably do a limit of say 10 or 20 just because I just want to check the actual information I'll be getting. I want to be sure the information I'll be getting is what I need. So yeah, now I've checked this and I can see that, okay, good. I have blockchain. It means I can at least check for different blockchains. I have projects. It means I can at least check for different projects. Version, block months, that is the month that particular transaction will occur, the date that particular transaction will occur, the actual timestamp of that particular transaction, the block number, token bought, token sold, that is this person bought X month and sold DAI for X month. This is the token pair. This is token amount bought, token amount sold. This is the raw amount, that is the unneutralized amount. This is the raw sold amount. And this is the amount in USDT that they converted. This is the token bot address, the address that is the contract address of the token bot. This is the token sold address. This is the taker. This is the maker. This is the project address. This is the transaction hash. This is the wallet that that started the transaction or that launched the transaction then to this wallet. So in most cases, when I have this, maybe to better understand some of these things, sometimes I just copy this transaction hash. This is on SushiSwap. This is on Gnostic blockchain. So most likely I'll probably have to go to Gnostic blockchain scan and then copy the transaction hash to actually be able to check and understand all of the details that I want. So another thing is, okay, I want to check now, for example, blockchain. So how many blockchain can I query? So maybe I want to now do a distance. I want to do distance from our normal SQL knowledge. Well, we know when we play, okay, distance blockchain. So by distinct blockchain, it means I want it to like show me all the blockchains that I have that are available in Dexstreet. So waiting for the results. Waiting for the results. Okay, yeah, good. So these are all of the chains that are available. There are 34 chains currently available on Dexstreet that they have their data on Dexstreet, which is nice. So let's take so we're just going to take, let me see which chain can we use. Yeah, so in this case, let's use Celo. We're going to use Celo now. So Celo data. So I go back again, I just press select star and then go for Dexstreet where blockchain equals to Celo. So it means every result that I will see here would be result for Celo chain only. It will be for result of transactions that were run on Celo chain only. So you can see Celo only and project is Mento only. Yep. So let's assume that I select, let me select BNB now. For example, if the blockchain I select is BNB, you will see, yeah, you can see BNB and you can see protocol 1-inch loop. So another thing I will probably want to check again is I want to check all the projects that are available on BNB. So I'm just going to select distinct projects. So in this case, instead of selecting distinct blockchain, now I've made up my mind that the blockchain I want to check is BNB. Now I want to check projects on BNB. I did not spell my distance very well. Let distinct projects from Dexstreet, and then so these are all the projects, basically all the decentralized exchanges or centralized projects that are available on BNB right now. So let's say we want to check the details for HyperSwap, for example now. So I'm going to select star where blockchain is BNB and project equals to HyperSwap. So it means every of the return details that I will have in this query will be for BNB and HyperSwap. You can see BNB, HyperSwap, and different versions. Say, for example, again, you want to check different versions that are available such that the result you want is only for that particular version. And you can also do that too. So now we have this blockchain, we have this version, we have the dates, we have the token symbol, we have every of this information. But this information is still too much. So let's say, for example, now we want to find out the volume of, we want to find out the total volume that was swapped on this particular project, like this on HyperSwap, in the last 30 days. Now, watch. So we want to find the volume that was exchanged in the last 30 days. In the last 30 days. So it means we are going to be using the block time because that is where we have dates. You can also use the block dates too, anyways. You can use the block dates. But I think block time makes much more sense. We're going to use the block time, and then we are using two things here: the block time and then the amount of USDT that was transacted. We don't have any problem. We don't have any issue with token amounts, but token amounts. So what we want to know is the total amount of swap that was done in USDT. So this is the total amount of swap. So we are going to start with select. So what we want to select is, first we want to select the day. So you might want to do a date trunk. So date trunk. Date trunk is basically to be able to break the block time into day, like per each day. So day comma block time. You want to break each of the day. So I want it to be day. I'm stating it as day. Then comma. So I think recently in June, they say the best formatting way, instead of putting the comma here, the best formatting way to make June run faster is to put the comma at the start, then write whatever you want to write. So the next thing you want to find is the sum of the amount in USDT. That's the total sum as let's call it total volume USDT now. Total volume USDT. So these are the two things we want to find from our DEX.trade table. So where so let's start with, there are different things we want to place as where blockchain equals to BNB and projects equals to where blockchain equals to BNB and project equals to hyperswap. And a hyperswap. This is because we want to check for hyperswap itself. Then and because we want to check for the last 30 days. So and block time is greater than or equals to now, or in some case you can use current states. From now minus interval. These are basic SQL queries for anybody that is lost. I'm thinking that we most likely have done that SQL class. So interval, we can decide to probably query for the last 1 month, or you can decide to do it for the last 30 days. Last 30 days. So you want to group by 1, which is the day, group by 1, and order by 1, and order by 1. You can decide to do it descending or ascending, or however you want it. So what we've basically done here is to look for the volume that was traded on hyperswap on BNB in the last 30 days. So we want to see the amount that was traded each day. So I'm going to run the query. Okay, yeah. So this is the amount of volume that was traded in the last 30 days per each day. That is each day. This is the amount that was traded each day. So personally, I always like formatting this as $0. So now, for example, you're able to see that, okay, maybe in the last 30 days, these are the days that have the highest. But before you even go to that, so you can now do a chart, line chart, because it's a time series. So you can do a chart, this chart, the day and the volume. So we're able to see each of the days and each of the volume for each day. So we're able to see the volume of each day. So from this, we're actually able to know that, okay, on the 18th was the highest volume that was swapped on this particular exchange in the last 30 days. And they swapped $2,900. That's the total amount that was swapped on Kuiper Swap in the last 30 days. And I think the lowest will most likely be, the lowest is looking like, on the 9th, on the 8th and on the 9th. Okay, I think on the 9th that's lower. Let me see this one. Okay. Yeah, I think on the 9th is the lowest. So the lowest that was swapped in a particular day was just $204 that was swapped on that particular day. So this, for example, is showing the total volume that was swapped over this particular period. So let's say, for example, what we actually want to know is the total amount. Maybe we don't want to break it over a particular period. What we want to know is the total amount. So let me just delete this. So this is the total volume for this project in the last 30 days. We don't need to group by anything. We don't need to further by anything. So this will give us the total amount. So this is the total amount. This is the total volume over the last 30 days that was swapped. So $22,000. More like $22,000. That's the total amount that was swapped on this particular exchange in the last 30 days. I mean, people are not using this particular exchange at all. The total value that is being swapped on this exchange is very, 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 very small. So let me try. Let's try to sushi swap. Let's change this to sushi swap, for example. Yeah, on sushi swap, $1 million was transacted in the last 30 days. You can decide that, okay, maybe what I want is just in the last 1 week. I don't want 30 days. 1 week is just 7 days. Just so you know. So you change the interval to the last 1 week. Okay, block time. For this error, I just copy the error and paste in the SQL AI prompts. Maybe just to help you correct where the error is coming from. Oh, okay. Okay. Instead of using 1 week, let me just use 7 days then. 7 days. Okay, yeah. So this is the amount, this is the total value that was swapped in the last 7 days. So for the other guy that asked the question the other time, for most swap, if you are working with a particular swap and the other, like you want to change for those swap, the first thing you would do is to check the tables, the projects that are available on that table. So because you said you work with Solana data now, permit me to just delete all of this. And so let's look for Solana data because I just want to answer your question. So this is Solana trades. Select star. So start with select star from dex.solana.trade. Let me limit it to 5. The reason for this is just so that we'll be able to know the way it is arranged, the way the data is arranged better. Okay, so for us to be able to know, so it means let's check distance projects. Distance projects. So distance project on Solana. Solana data running low. Okay, yeah. So we have 18 different protocols that are available. I mean, 10, not 18, 10. 10 swaps, Pump Swap, Pump.fun, Etorad, Infinity, Radium Launchpad, Phoenix, Whirlpool, Radium, Stable. So these are all the ones that are available. So I think your question was, say, for example, what you want to check is actually for Jupiter. Say, for example, if what you want to check is for Jupiter. So let me show you how you were able to get the one for, say, Jupiter, for example. Run this limit again. You would see there was something I saw. Okay, you would see trade source. Under trade source, there's something that will give it away. So there are different ways. It's either you get it through project program ID, or you get it through trade source. So let me just try to look for distance trade source now. Because I think I saw the one that has like Jupiter the other time. So distance trade source. Let's see all the distance trade source. Still waiting. While we are waiting, if you have any question on the few, okay. Yep. So I think we have close like 5,000. I'm looking for the one that has Jupe. I think there's one that has, yeah. So yeah, this one, for example, now, this Jupe, whatever, this trade source shows that this particular transaction is from Jupiter. It's from Jupiter itself. So for distinct transaction, you would probably find it from this particular trade source. So it means that every of that particular transaction, any transaction that has trade source, Jupe, whatever, is transaction that was run through a Jupiter program. Like it was run through Jupiter swap infrastructure, as the case may be. So start from where trade source equals to this. Let me limit it to 50. Yeah. So every of these transaction is run through a Jupiter infrastructure. Although you can see that probably it's run through Radium, then it means through Radium using Jupiter, any of the Jupiter infrastructure. That is how you're able to come about this. Am I able to answer your question? I think Easy Trend. I think it was Easy Trend that asked the question.
Yes.
My screen is not displaying.
No, it's displaying. I can
There
see it.
It's displaying. Okay. Okay, I'm able to answer your question now. So you understand how to be able to like get for different different protocols, as the case may be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, you're welcome. So now we've talked about swap volume. Let's try to see for users. So let me use Solana in this case as the example. So let's say we want to know users. So now let's even now try to know users that used Solana decentralized exchange, like users over a particular period of time. So let's check first off block time. Okay. So we are going to do dates first, just like we did the other time too. Dates trunk, proper SQL practice. Don't let me write. Okay, date trunk. Block type. Okay. The reason for checking this is so that you are sure that this is block time. In some tables, what you would have, especially in Ethereum related table, what you have would be EVT block time. So you need to check to be sure the actual table, like the correspondent for block time on that particular table. So block time as day, and then we want to count distinct wallets. To get our wallets, we are going to look for wallets that transact, and that is trader ID. Trader ID is the name for wallet that transacts. In dex.trade, the one we checked the other time, for wallet that transacts, it is transaction from. But in this particular case, it is trader ID. So count distinct trader ID, that is, counts a unique trader ID as unique user or unique trader, as the case may be. Unique trader from Solana.dex, and where block time is greater than or equals to now minus it's this. Then you want to group by one, order by one. So what this will return is the number of wallets that interacted with Solana, like on Solana decentralized exchange, in the last 30 days. This is going to take a while because let's see. Okay, we are still waiting. Maybe I should change it to hour and just do Monday. Because Solana is always a very, very busy. It's a very, very busy block. So okay, yeah, we have it already. Let me first put a comma which 0.0, yeah. So let's try to do a line chart. Day versus unique trader. So yeah, so these are a number of unique. You don't need dollar here. So these are the number of unique traders per each day. As you can see, the number has been around 1 million plus. I think the highest is 29th, that's last month, 29th of May, and the lowest is probably today so far, because today has not ended. So we really don't know what the data will look like by the end of today. So this is unique trader. Like this is to know the total number of users that probably use this protocol over the last 30 days. And you can decide to tweak it. Maybe you want to know in the last 1 hour, in the last 30 minutes, or you want to break it per week, depending on how you want to break it. Or you want to know for a particular protocol. All of this is for, all of this is for all protocols. Say you want to know maybe for pump swap only, maybe for people that use pump swap only, then you can probably, and project equals to pump swap, pump phone swap, I think. Is it written as pump swap, pump phone swap, or pump swap? Let me try pump swap first. Okay, let's pump swap. Okay, yeah. So this is pump swap. For pump swap, these are a number of unique traders in the last couple of days, and I think the highest we had was 17 days ago. Unique wallets that traded. That was 17th of June, and that is how you come about that information. So now, let's try to do two more. Let's try to see if we can do two more practice. So now let's say, for example, what we want to know is we want to know market share per each of the protocols. Say, for example, we want to know between all of those projects, we want to know which one has the highest volume. We want to know which one has the highest volume. So let's go back to see where we are going to be taking our data. Select star from Solana DEX. The same thing you are doing here, you can also do in other. The only thing is you just need to make sure that you get the actual table that you need to reference. Okay. So yeah, we want to know how each of these projects, how they perform in the last 30 days, what each one's volume look like in the last 30 days. So in the last 30 days, that is what we want to look at. So select this. Let's chunk the block time. Let's do it. And the next thing is projects. Because what we want to check is for each project. The next thing is the sum of how is amount taken here. Amount USDT, okay. Sum of amounts as project volume. Let me take extract, maybe just to be able to know sum of fee that was paid, fee in USDT, so that we'll know which of the protocols is getting more fee. P as project fee volume. Then you are taking all of this from Solana DEX table. Then, because we want to check over the last 30 days, where block greater than or equals to now minus interval interval 30 day, and then okay, we don't need any more. Yes. So want to group by day, followed by projects, group by day and projects 1 and 2, followed by day and project volume. Followed by day, project volume, that is 1, 2, 3, 3 and 4 project fee. So let's see what it looks like. So yeah, this is the volume in the last for each one. So let me just break volume data. 0, 0. We will not be able to get the full information very well here. So the best thing is just to visualize it. So because it's volume, the best way to visualize volume of different projects is by using an area chart, actually, by using an area chart. So the project volume in group by projects. Yeah. So this is the project volume. Let me put it as a dollar sign. So this is really not showing very well my volume. So for most project volume, you most likely don't want to see this what's it called now? I don't want to see this amount in dollar. What I want to see is which one has the largest share, that is by percent, say by percent. Yes, by percent. So enable stacking so that it's going to stay on each other, then normalize to percent. So yeah, we're able to see it very well here. So enable stacking, and we're able to see, okay, so in the last 30 days, this is where the volume has been. So I think, okay, earlier in the month, Radium was the one having the highest volume. Radium at 45, also I passed 7%, like that, 70, 82% at the point. Pump swap at 82% of the total volume on Solana chain. I think there's probably something that happened there that makes this stable volume, that makes it to be like this. So maybe we might want to remove stable totally. And so let's just do and projects not not equals to stables. Yeah. The reason for removing it is, I think the data on this table, there is a defect there. So in order to have like a much more clearer picture. Yeah, so we have a very, very good picture now. We're able to see that as at today, PumpSwap are probably taking a larger percent of transactions or swap transactions that occurs on Solana chain. Much more than Radium. So this is an example of showcasing the market share. And I'm probably, going to show us the different. I'm going to show us one. I think I have a dashboard that shows some of these things. I'm going to show us a dashboard that effectively shows an example of this. So let me check. Dune. Let me check. I think it's for PumpSwap. Yeah. So I have a dashboard that shows all of this information about a particular DEX. This is an example. So this is an example of showing information of a DEX. So this basically shows volume that was swapped each day for every day, like everyday volume that was swapped, like each of the volumes that was swapped each day. So I have it in the bar chart here. So this is the volume that was swapped in the last 24 hours, volume that was swapped in the last 3 days, all-time volume that is throughout since the inception. Then average trade size, that is the average trades per each of the trader. So the volume, this is the fee in the last 24 hours. Okay, we did not even check, sorry. So let me change this to fee now, for example, project volume. So now let's check project fee. We want to see, okay, so for project fee, PumpSwap is also leading for project fee. I mean, it's only able to pick up few protocols fee. It does not have all of the protocols fee. So it's only like 4 different protocols that it has its fee. But from these details, PumpSwap had like the highest fee. I just wanted us to show because I added fee to it. So yeah, so this is in the last 24 hours, these are the number of traders that traded. This is not a distinct trader. This is just general trader. In the last 3 days, this is number, all-time number of traders. We've had this number, and these are extra example of tokens that were traded and the volume. Okay, this is exactly what I wanted to show. This is the DEX volume. This is the DEX volume. I've not updated this. This was updated 4 days ago. So this is an example of what I was trying to show. This is a market share of each of the DEX. This is a market share of each of the DEX. This particular one is comparing new traders by returning trader. Basically, new traders are traders that are probably just coming, that are just trading on that platform for the first time, and returning trader are the ones that have been around over time. So let me try to see. Yeah, this is a combination. This is adding city up. This is like different cities together. So I'm really not going into details of this. These different cities together. I'm just trying to show us an example of what a DEX, like trying to get, create like a proper dashboard for a decentralized exchange or a decentralized protocol. So now, lastly, does anyone have any question before I move to the last one? Anyone with question? Anyone with question? Okay, no questions so far. So maybe I should just take the last one then. If you have question, we can ask our question. Oh, there's question. Okay, easy trend. Yeah, I'm listening. Now unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for the lesson and the clarification. So I must say, no, they are different in DEXs and aggregators, right? So how do we, what if we want to analyze for aggregators? How do we go about it? Like Step Finance Dashboard is an aggregator. It's not a DEX.
Yeah.
So how do we find it? So how do we find it and analyze to know, okay, how they have generated fee, how many IDs are trading on the aggregator, and
they are using on Step Finance, exactly. So the way you are going to know that is you would need to look for, I think this particular data, this DEX trades, this particular DEX trade is basically for decentralized exchange generally. So I think the way to be able to get for step trade is that you will have to look for maybe the contracts, the smart contract for step trade. That is for every trade that happens on step trade, you have to look for the smart contract. So what I always advise for cases like that, I know it can be a little bit overwhelming. For anything you want to do on Dune, there is most likely someone that had probably worked on it before. So the first thing you probably want to do is just search for step finance. Okay, there's even a step dashboard. So this is not the same step financing. Step finance. Step finance on Solana. If there's no dashboard, is there a question? I'm coming, Obafemi Joel. If there's no dashboard, there is probably that possibility that maybe they don't have, there's no record of the work on it. But the way I used to check out for me is probably check if there's any dashboard that probably worked on it before. Then try to see if it is public, to see just to be able to get the smart contract of, or the contract of that particular project. Another way for me, if it's not available, then it means you have to probably do you be the one to do like the actual job. Then that means you have to look for a transaction that was processed through Step Finance. So you look for a transaction that was processed through Step Finance, and after getting that, I guess the next thing you have to do would now be trying to look for, I'm coming. Trying to look for a transaction that looks like, I mean, similar transaction. So you are going to probably look for DEX aggregator. Okay, this one is not for Solana. I don't think there's any DEX aggregator for Solana. Let me see, aggregator. Aggregator. Okay, this one is Solana. This one is Jupiter only. These are Jupiter only aggregator. I don't think there's anyone for Solana. But anyways, let's say for Jupiter now, this one, these are Jupiter, what's it called now? These are Jupiter swaps. Let me see how they were able to get for Jupiter swap. Okay. So this is for Jupiter swap. I'm trying to see the common factor. Oh, it's not written there. So this one is an already decoded table for Jupiter swap. Maybe for these are AMMs. Maybe for Step Finance that you talked about, you most likely have to check it from their contract and probably use Solana transaction, like Solana transaction table. Yeah. Either Solana transaction table or instruction table, or maybe a combination of those to be able to get. So the reason for using Solana transaction table is to be able to get similar contracts that are using that have that particular trade. I'm still coming to your question, Obafemi. I'm coming. I'm just. Solana transaction should not be this slow. So maybe why this is still loading. Yeah, Obafemi, you can answer your question, please. I'm still answering easy, but yeah, I'm waiting for this to load. Yeah, you can ask your question.
Okay, GM. The last guy made mention of revenue, and I thought to ask that because recently the conversation that has been going around, especially with Solana apps and everything, has been rev as real economic value. So I wanted to ask if probably you have any idea, because I've tried to look into it, how these folks, the likes of Blockworks, for instance, go about calculating this revenue for these platforms? Let's even bring it to context. Let's say the likes of PumpSwap. If we are to kind of try and understand or try and query the revenue
The
generated on a platform.
Yeah. Okay. So I think for PumpSwap, even till now, I'm not sure there is any decoded table to get the actual. That's why you see that. I think recently there was when a particular dashboard was pulled out to show amounts pump fund, for example, had pulled out from their exchange. There were a lot of talks about those data not being correct. And I've also faced that. I had a dashboard before that was showing for realized PNL, and I was reached out by one of Dune's team to archive that particular table, because from then they said that Pump said that that particular data is incorrect. That is, the data that was synchronized from Dune is actually not correct. So some of those things actually can be, what's the word? Can be a little bit taxing to get. I think the only table for now, I'm not sure even if his own is correct, is probably Adamtech's PumpSwap. I think he has a table that shows let me see, yeah, daily fee. So I think the problem over time about this had been to be able to know the difference between liquidity fee from protocol fee to creator fee. So I'm not sure if his own is actually correct. Okay, if you probably check in depth into this query, you'll be able to see some of his details, or how he's able to get by, or how he's able to come across some of these things. Some of these things can be taxing sometimes. Sometimes you have to copy. That is why I said that there are certain times you have to check what other people have done and check that that particular information is correct. So maybe this now you might probably want to copy all of this and probably use an AI to explain or break down. That is the way I do it sometimes for certain things that I probably don't understand. I probably just take it and break down each of the queries, that is each of the cities, to be able to get the amount that was generated by that particular protocol. But in most cases, or in some cases, they will give you a smart contract that easily has, maybe from the fee swapped, you'll be able to get the amount that are generated. Maybe for some protocols, maybe from this fee swap, when you see that fee swap, maybe from the fee swap, the protocol realized maybe from that fee swap, their home percent is maybe 25%. So it means from every fee swap, you take out 25% to be able to get that particular protocol's amount generated. So it differs from protocol to protocol. I don't know if I answer your question very well now.
Yeah, you did. It's just quite annoying that I would say annoying that these top guys tend to kind of gatekeep their methodology to deriving those kind of stuff. I mean,
the reason, so I think the reason is also because right now, Solana data is very, very messed up. Like, it's not as straightforward as it is. So there are a few guys that are able to write spell books. They call something spell book. That is, people that are able to, like, they are more like data engineers that are able to, like, pull out, like, simplify some of those data for everyday people, for normal people to be able to read. I mean, a normal raw Solana data is very, very messy, and you probably have to do several cleanups over time. But there are a few people that have probably been able to work on, like, being able to get that. And maybe for a few people that already has dashboards that are already explaining it, you can just go to those dashboards to be able to pick out whatever you want. And again, it can also be that a whole lot of people don't understand how to get it or how to derive it. But of course, I think guys from Blockwork, they have a good number of researchers and analysts that are working in-house. So they probably have a way of getting or being able to come about that fee. I think it will be easier to understand or get if you know maybe someone from Pump Fund, for example, they're able to explain how, but most times, more often than not, they will not want to explain. They always want to keep it in-house. More often
Yeah,
than not. In
yeah,
most
and
cases.
I
Because,
actually did
yeah,
look into Blockworks. I realized that they actually imported their own data sets. So I'm very sure they work closely, very closely with this protocol. So they get to
yeah.
have their
So
own custom
to
data set
get
that
to
they
have like, yeah. So it's most likely probably going to be a closed data in most cases.
interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. So um back to easy one. So you might probably be able to get the information. So I was talking about that maybe for step finance, you will need to get an actual common factor, maybe an actual program ID or smart contract ID or whatever the case is, that is actually for step finance. And you probably have to do the root work of checking across it in so the way to make it easy for you is look for maybe like 5 or 10. That's the way I try to, if there's probably a new protocol I'm trying to work on, I look for maybe 5 or 10 different transaction hash of that particular protocol. I ask them to give me. So I check through Solana, like normal Solana scan for that particular transaction hash. And then I come here, maybe Solana transaction, and I make sure I check only for that transaction hash. I remember when I was trying to get I think it was, I'm not sure it was Lexbonk or either Lexbonk or which other meme coin launcher. I think Believe app. When I was working with Believe app, I had to like look for like different transaction hash that were carried out using Believe app, like Believe app token, in order to be able to get the actual information. So maybe the actual information, common denominator might probably be in the instructor, or it might probably be in the instructor, or maybe the log message. Maybe they have a similar log message or something that you'll be able to know that, okay, this is affirmatively from Step Finance, and you can probably be able to use that to pull up your data together. I don't know if I answer your question. And if you are not able to get it, you can also go to there's the Dune Discord. I don't know if they've talked about it. If you go on Discord, on Dune Discord, there's a place to probably open a ticket or ask a question. So you can ask a question to see there is a Solana, I think there's a Solana thread. So you can ask your question that you're trying to like look for Step Finance to know if the data of Step Finance is available on Dune. And maybe someone that probably worked on it before will probably like come up and share their experience, or come up and show you, maybe show you how to go about it. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So if you go to Discord, if you go to coming, you see Solana. Yes, on Solana, you can ask your Solana related question. You can ask your Solana related question, and someone will probably try to like answer your question. Okay, yeah, Obafemi, you're raising your hand again.
Yeah, I just wanted to buttress your point regarding how this person, if at all, wants to go across
Okay.
analyzing like a protocol that has not been fully decoded. Usually, the way I do it is that I read through their documentation, because reading through their documentation will give like
Yeah,
a proper,
yeah.
like a better
Be like
view
a
of it.
guide, yeah.
Exactly. Then usually some very good protocols will have a contract section in the documentation that will list out all their contracts. So you can pick each contract, cross check with the block explorer, go into the decoded logs, or for Solana, which is quite complicated. You have several inner instructions and outer instructions. So basically, try to understand every single major event emitted by the contract addresses. For instance, for Step Finance, you could have, since it's an aggregator, you have several swaps and everything, and then from there you get to understand how to analyze the protocol, and you will most likely have to work with, just like you said, the instruction calls tables and some other of the raw kind of Solana table since it has not been decoded by the team?
Yeah, thank you very much. So I even totally forgot that you probably most likely have to check through. I mean, a good number of protocols, they always have the documentation, developer documentation in most cases where they have all of these smart contract informations that you have. You probably have to, for those ones that are not decoded, you have to be the one to do the raw work, like the footwork in this case, by checking over and over again and making sure that what you have is actually the right. I mean, it's the price you pay sometimes. It can be, I think it can be quite tasking and quite hard. I think for me, more often than not, the ones I've worked with have been, so far, have been like decoded tables. I've really not entered into the trenches of raw data per se. But if you actually need to work on raw data, you have to check it through the developer, whatever, their developer documentation, bring out all of the contracts, or if possible, reach out to one of their developers, maybe on Twitter. A good number of some of those guys, they are very, very accessible and they are probably ready to help you navigate some of these things. Another way I used to do it sometimes, but now that what was it called? Now that these guys are closing up, another way I used to do it is sometimes I check Flipside Crypto. I check to see dashboards, similar dashboards like that are built on Flipside Crypto, and try to check if their contract information are written there so that I can make use of it when I want to work on Dune. I don't know if that answers your question. Our time is fast spent. So
Thank you so much, Mr. Oladayo. I really appreciate it. And Mr. Obafemi Joel, thank you so much. So we do, as you said, check through their documentation and all of that. Thank you so much.
okay, thank you. Yeah. So the last one, I just want to touch one thing on lending protocol. So I think one of the popular lending protocol is Balancer. There's Balancer, there's Eve. So let's just work with Balancer data here. So let me just search for Balancer here. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So let's start from. I just want to go through this. It's just similar to the way we're able to get like the swap volumes and the likes. Okay, yeah. So for lending protocol, these are okay. So for example, for this particular balancer, we have the day, the pool ID, the pool address, the symbol, the pool symbol, version, blockchain, the pool type, token address, symbol, the raw data, protocol liquidity in USDT, pool liquidity in USDT. So now let's say, for example, we want to find the total value log in the protocol, for example, now, not in the pool, in the protocol in USDT. So you can just do let's say we want to find the total sum of liquidity in so that is sum of protocol liquidity as protocol from balancer yeah, let's check for D is greater than or equals to now minus let's say in the last let me just use 5 days. Okay, I don't need to limit this. question. Ibrahim, I'm coming. Okay, yeah. This is the total value locked in this particular protocol in the last 5 days. Around 3.7 billion that was locked in the last 5 days. So you can now decide to do extra work, maybe to check based on each pool, each liquidity pool ID, like all of those informations that we saw the other time. Where is it again? Like you can decide to want to know, okay, for each of the pool IDs or for each of the pool type, you want to know the amount of value liquidity that you have for that protocol, for that particular maybe pool ID, or for that particular blockchain, as the case may be. This is for all of the blockchain that has balancer anyways. So maybe you want to do for another blockchain entirely and all of those things. So this is an example of how to like check for liquidity pool. So you can check one, like I said the other time, one of the best ways like to work, because of course you really will not know everything. So one of the best ways to work that I work for me is most times, anytime I come on Dune, I just randomly check Dune and check Discover, and probably any of this trending, whatever, I select them. Maybe if any of them is in, I have interest in any of them, I select them and then I check the extra details, like to be able to know like the extra information about that particular table, or probably be able to know what each of these table, what they can do. Like if I check what this table can do, I'll be able to have extra information of what they can do. And then maybe anytime I need to use it another time, I can easily just check up again. Another thing is just to search. You can just search on Dune for whatever you are looking for that particular protocol. Maybe one person or two person that actually built, they've actually built something or built a dashboard of that particular thing you are working on. Maybe what you want to do is totally different from what the person has done, but you'll be able to like pick up the person's idea to be able to work on what you want to work on. So it's a consistent learning. It's not something that stops one day. It's something you keep doing over and over again. So yeah, so Ibrahim, you can ask your question now. Ibrahim, you can ask your question. Okay, is there any other person with any question before we call it a day? Ibrahim, I thought you raised your hands the other time. Any other person with question? Okay, accidental. Okay, no problem. Any other person with question? So if you have any other question beyond the scope of this class, you can easily send a message to me. Like my DMs are open. Atola Diayo, like on Twitter or on most platforms. You can just look for so you can send me a message if probably you are trying to work on something and you feel that you are not getting it, maybe from what we've explained in this class. You can just check it out. I mean, you can ask me a question and I can probably try to put you through. And like I said, the best way to learn is by consistent practicing. The first time I like last year when I first did my first dashboard was a layer 0 dashboard, airdrop dashboard actually. And I didn't fully understand the scope of even how to work on dashboards on Dune. But after that dashboard, I had people that needed extra things from that query. And by the time I had reworked that query, like I had to do extra thing, I understood much more better than the first time I did the dashboard. And from there, I was able to like pick it up. So the best way for you to understand these things is by consistently practicing some of these things, by practicing, checking what other people have done. And you can have people, maybe for anybody that you've seen that had a particular dashboard, you can check their Twitter link. There's someone I always ask. For me, my go-to person is always Adam Tech. Anytime I have a particular question, I just message him on Twitter or on Telegram. He has always been of help to me. So for everybody that you see, maybe a particular dashboard, so far the person is active. You can just go and message the person on Twitter and ask your question, and hopefully they'll be able to help you. Another person you can also always reach out to that can help you is OX Boxer. OX Boxer is one of the team member of Dune. He's always ready to help you at any point in time that you have a question. OX Boxer. OX. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So this guy, you can follow him and send him a message anytime you like. He's one of the data guy on Dune. You can always send him a message if you are going through or you have a particular issue. But it's always the best way so that you don't just fill them up with questions. The best way is just to come on Discord and Dune Discord and ask your question in any of the channels, appropriate channels, or any of the questions that you have. So I will expect every one of us to like go through some of the things. The recording of this class will be available. So you can go through some of these things that we've talked about in this class. Maybe for DEX that I used Solana, you can probably try to use EVM DEX, which is DEX.trade, check through different blockchain or different protocol and understand how some of this query works so that you can have enough knowledge about some of these things. So if there is no other question, we'll be calling it a day today. And by next week, same time again, we have the final class, which is on advanced query, which is on wallet behavior. I'll just take us through wallet behavior, like how to understand wallet behavior on chain. Basically wallet behavior, like on-chain analytics on wallet behavior and other advanced queries like Dune query, as the case may be. So thank you everyone for joining today's class. I'm not sure if there's any other information. So any other information will probably be passed across. So like I said, you can always message me if you have any questions. So thank you everyone for joining today's class. Do have a wonderful day.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you for taking us to your class.